time to do some EV car spotting in Norway. I think you will find it interesting. I kind of want to check out how the EV revolution is doing. We still have combustion cars on the road. It's important to do a sample check. It's important to drive around and kind of explain what's going on. We are going to drive to a gas station. We are going to just drive around and check out the electric car. That's a Mercedes battery electric car, and there is another battery electric car over there. And if you Teslas down there, I can see an Ioniq 5, I can see a Nissan Leaf, I can see a Tesla Model Y, and I'm just at a random parking lot right now, and a Mazda MX-30. My condolences to those. And I think we should just check out electric cars in Norway. Electric car spotting in Oslo, and the first place I want to visit is the hub. It's where you find all the electric cars. Of course, they are just also driving around, but you can find electric cars at certain places like DC fast chargers. So I want to go to some DC fast chargers to see if we can find any electric cars. Here we did find a Kia Soul though, and we did find an ID4 coming up, which is our two first electric cars. But let's drive on to this charging station and see if we can find any electric cars. Then I'll drive onto the highway and keep you updated. Here we see something interesting immediately. We see a F-150 Lightning, two Neos charging, and a Tesla over there, and an ID4. And over here we can see multiple electric cars. We see a Tesla Model Y just parked, doesn't need to charge. Then we have a Peugeot 3008, I think, and then a Volvo XC40 or EX40, two ID buses, an electric van from Opel. We have a Toyota BC4X and three Tesla Model Ys, four Tesla Model Ys with the kind of taxi driver that you see here. Here you can see the Tesla Model Ys. And not only that, you saw already the two Neos, which are not battery swapping, they are charging, which is interesting. Here we have a Ford e-Transit and a battery electric Volvo truck charging at the Circle K charger over here. I think it's battery electric. Yes, it's battery electric. Here we can see a Tesla Model Y, we can see a Maxus delivery van, we can see a Citroën delivery van, we can see a Peugeot delivery van, and a ID bus at the charger. So that's great to see. If we drive over here to the other chargers at the end here, we can see a Opel Ampera E. That's the same as the Bolt, of course, just for Europe. And we can see a ENV 200 and a Polestar 2 Performance, which is fantastic to see. So if we turn around, I kind of want to take another look at the Volvo truck charging, because lately we have been seeing more and more trucks actually charging, which is interesting. So let's do a 10-point turn here and go out here. That's also an electric van. That's a Mercedes EQV electric taxi, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Taxis are important to electrify. And as long as you can charge at the depot, they usually work pretty great, as well as taxis. And they're more quiet and a better experience for the drivers, unless you have a taxi driver that can't drive a Tesla, but decides to drive a Tesla in a yo-yoing manner. I just want to show you this truck charging here. You can see that the truck is actually charging here at this Kempower site, which is interesting and fantastic to see. He has stretched whole cable from the Kempower satellite, which is fantastic to see that the cable management is actually used. Here you can see an ID4, and we also see the Neo and the beautiful F-150 Lightning with the trailer markings on top. There is another grocery van coming up, and we can also see another van coming up, another electric van. Sorry, that one is actually diesel. Wow. So strange to see diesel delivery vans actually right now. So I'll just go here. I'm actually driving the opposite direction that you're supposed to, just to show you everything. And here we have another electric e-Transit, which needs to charge at these chargers. And here we see two other electric delivery vans and then another normal diesel delivery van. Let's see if we can drive through here. It's absolutely chaos here right now. So I kind of want to get going. And there is a big Ram truck. And we have a Model Y, a Model 3 with the chrome details. That means it's built in the United States. Another Model 3, which is interesting. So this was kind of like a crazy EV hotspot. Let's move on to the highway actually and see. Oh, there is another ID bus pulled up. Interesting. So let's get onto the highway here. Oh, we should have waited. That was a Dongfeng Nami box coming up behind me. Maybe he will pass me. So here we see another electric delivery van or work van. So popular to have, like, that's a parking company having this electric van. And yeah, we see a Tesla Model Y coming up over there. And behind me I have the Dongfeng Nami box, which is a cheap electric car available in Norway. So let's get over here. That's the electric e-Vito, which is a Mercedes electric van. Very, very popular, I would say. At least a few years ago, the e-Vito was the one to go for. You kind of get a little bit of comfort in the van, which is nice, which is different than, for example, the cheaper Maxus delivery vans and so on and so forth. ID3 Hertz, so that's a rental, and an Audi e-tron coming up, which are both fantastic electric cars in my opinion. They drive fantastically well in completely different ways, but they do. And yeah, we can see a Dacia Duster, which is a very rare car in Norway. It's a cheaper combustion car, and that's not something that's usually sold in Norway. They are way too expensive. And I see a super interesting car coming up there. Is that the Volvo S60 Hershey? Like a Hershey? I think so. Yes. Wow. Never seen that before. Is that a S60? Interesting. Those are also going electric in Norway, by the way. Not this one, but they are going electric. So that's at least something. Then we can get through here, and there is a few combustion cars. We can see a Skoda Citigo. That's the same as the Volkswagen e-Up actually. So that's an electric car. And here we can see a Tesla Model 3 Highland dual motor with, that's not a performance, it has a performance spoiler, of course. That's important, but it looks pretty great. I've always liked the design of the new Tesla Model 3. Then we have a combustion Polo, very, very rare. We have a Tesla Model Y, we have a BMW iX, and we have another BMW iX over there. And what other cars do we have? We have a Model 3 over there, which is interesting. The BMW iX is increasingly more popular, which is strange because the iX3 is actually coming out very, very soon. But people buy it because it has an enormous WLTP range, more than any other SUV on the market actually, with the new larger battery. That's like school car, so they are learning to drive in a Tesla Model 3. Very, very typical in Norway. That also the school cars are battery electric, because everything is. And in front of us we have an ambulance, and ambulances are actually not battery electric in Norway. None of them. They are combustion still, which of course is fine, but that's the way it is. A lot of other countries have police cars, or they have ambulances, or even fire trucks that are battery electric. But Norway is way behind there. They don't want that. So we want combustion emergency response vehicles, and then every personal car can have tax incentives so that people actually buy the electric cars for personal use. Let's pass this one. And that's the Tesla Model Y, Norway's most sold car. And not only most sold in terms of market share each of the last 5 years, it is also the most sold car of all time of a single model in Norway, I think, and it's the most common car on the road in Norway. It's the most common car, really. So that's interesting. And that's the Toyota RAV4, which is of course combustion. That one was one of the most sold cars up until the EV revolution, I would say. Here we have a Model Y Juniper coming up, which is interesting. He is going to the Circle K there, and the Circle K over there actually has a ton of fast charging, which is fantastic. Let's speed up a little bit past here. We are of course driving the speed limit. There is a Tesla Model Y taxi. Not the best taxi cars in my opinion, because many taxi drivers are not able to drive them comfortably, and also the Tesla Model Y is not the most comfort-oriented car. But they do have a fantastic price in this market, and they also have fantastic utilization of space, which is important in taxis. So, how many percent of the cars on the road today are battery electric? Well, 1/3 are battery electric, and in this area around 45 to 50% should be battery electric. And I think that resonates with all the cars that we see. Yes, we see some Toyotas from time to time that are combustion, and we see some older German combustion cars, but from a new car perspective, all the cars are battery electric. Okay, that's a school car, ID4 coming up. And in the other direction, I haven't even counted the cars, but I can see 3 Model Ys in a row on the other side there. Very, very typical of Norway. Tunnels, also typical of Norway. And I can see, is that an ID bus in front of us? A base model ID bus, maybe? Yes, it is. Interesting. Basest of the basest ID buses, and ID bus is the most sold work-related van in Norway, or van of any kind in Norway the last 4 years. So ID bus is a completely normal sight in Norway. It's a major success in Norway, and I think Norway is the only market where this car had this kind of incredible success, which is fantastic to see, because the ID bus is truly a fantastic car that I've driven so many times and for so long distances. I've even driven the ID bus in the United States, where it completely failed. So I've driven it over in the United States. I have driven the ID bus in Norway. I've driven the first generation with the older motor in the rear, and then the new generation with the AP550 motor. And let's pause him. That's a complete base model ID bus, very, very typical in Norway, and they are still quite expensive. That's a Q4 e-tron and a Hyundai Kona and a bunch of other electric and combustion cars. So let's go around this roundabout. That's a Peugeot electric van, and then we have a Peugeot diesel van and a Volvo combustion car, and all Volvos are usually older. We have a Neo EL8, I think, yeah, should be. I want to check out the Neos. I haven't spent too much time with them, but I'm very curious about them. That's a Model Y and a Skoda Enyaq, new generation. And the Skoda Enyaqs are fantastic cars. They are also selling incredibly well. Here we have a mix of a combustion Mini, which is strange. Most of the Minis in Norway are actually battery electric. Then we have a Model 3, and we actually have a bunch of combustion cars coming up, which is not good for the video, but I'm showing you the unfiltered truth. That there are still combustion cars on Norwegian roads. That's the Toyota BC4X, one of the most sold cars in Norway. I have no idea why. I'm trying to figure that out. And this BMW is trying to flex on me with his exhaust, but it sounds terrible, so I don't think this is a fast BMW. And yeah, that's an ID3 down right over there. And then we have, what else do we have? Here we have a bunch of cars, so let's see. I think we can cross over. Nissan Ariya sold okay the first year, and then never again. And there is another Nissan Ariya over in the roundabout, and people are very mad in that roundabout. So that's the EV revolution and how it looks. There are a bunch of electric cars on the road. There are a bunch of combustion cars on the road because 2/3 are still combustion. That's a Model Y, that's a EQS, right? Taxi. And that's Ampera E. And then we have a battery electric Peugeot of some kind, 208, yeah. Then we have the beautiful Ford Explorer Electric, which is Europe exclusive. And then we had another car, battery electric car that I already forgot, which is interesting. And I think we can take this one. And yeah, I think that's the EV revolution and how it looks. That's a BMW i3. We have a Nissan Leaf. I don't know what this guy's doing. He's going in here, right? Nissan Leaf, nope, he's just driving with his blinkers on. And then we have a BYD Dolphin, super rare in Norway. BYD hasn't taken off yet in Norway. Oh, he's going this direction. Interesting. And he has studded tires. Also a thing in Norway, studded tires, becoming less and less of a thing. Here we have a Jaguar I-Pace. That one was very popular a few years ago. Then it completely fell off because Jaguar didn't bother to actually update it. That's an iX3 over there, an old generation iX3. We have yet to see the new iX3 on Norwegian roads actually, which is interesting to actually see. Let's drive straight through here and see if we find any electric cars down here. That's a Volvo EX30 and a Volvo EX40 over there. So Volvos are actually doing pretty well in Norway, I would say. Volvo has always been a strong brand. iX, Model X, iX and Model X, perfect. Both large cars, heavy cars, with the same battery size almost, if you have a new Model X. And yeah, actually, let's go straight through here and right into the roadworks. That's a smart solution. This is, by the way, the suburbs around Oslo. I would call it, it's called Lillestrøm, which is a smaller kind of city. It's a cheaper city to live in than Oslo. It looks not that great right now because, you know, when it's overcast, everything looks terrible. But it's a pretty okay place to live, I would say. And they do have electric cars here as well. Same as Oslo. And same as any other place in Norway right now. It's absolutely crazy. I-Pace, Model Y, Model 3, Model 3, Model Y, Model 3, Model Y, Model 3, Model Y, Cyclist, and Skoda Enyaq, Nissan Leaf, Model Y. Interesting. Let's go to the left here actually. I want to look at a little bit more cars before I end the video. I find it a little bit interesting to actually look at what's available and what people actually are driving. So a Hyundai Kona and a Model Y and another Model Y. Model Y is again the #1 in Norway and it has been for many, many years. That's some raw car spotting around the Oslo area. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just a completely on-the-spot video, just driving around, checking out electric cars. And I think it's a little bit interesting to see for myself as well. I am used to seeing electric cars everywhere, but I do find it interesting still that there are so many electric cars. And that's a Ford Capri and a Model Y again. And the Ford Capri is just almost crashing into me in the roundabout. And yeah, I think it's so interesting to see all the electric cars and my mind is blown. And I see these every day and I'm still mind blown every day about all the kind of electric cars and what's happening with the EV revolution in Norway. So I hope you also found this video a little bit interesting.